Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus Smackdown, September 3rd, 2021. Finally got around to watching it. A lot going on in wrestling this weekend, but we got to mark the time. That's what we do. So Smackdown opens up with a video package to hype tonight's main event. And that is, of course, Finn Balor against Roman Reigns. Michael Cole welcomes us, and we got Corey Graves and, of course, Pat McAfee, who is not there because he's recovering from COVID-19. McAfee will be back next week for Super Smackdown from Madison Square Garden. Super Smackdown. We got a championship contenders match. We got the Smackdown Tag Champs, the Usos, against the Street Profits. The theme for tonight is disqualification. They had a pretty good match here, but Jay is not legal, and he keeps doing stuff, and so eventually they get DQ'd. So the Street Profits win by DQ. The Usos double-team Dawkins at ringside, send him into the steel ring steps. Ford runs over the ropes and leaps over the top, taking the Usos down at the announce table. Cole says Ford may have injured himself on the dive. But the Profits stand on top of the announce table playing to the crowd and yelling and all that kind of good stuff. They go backstage to Reigns and Heyman. Reigns tells Heyman to bring him his cousins. Kayla Braxton stops Paul Heyman backstage and asks about everything going on tonight, including Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. Heyman tells her to enjoy the moment, but we hear Brock Lesnar's theme music hit. It's just a ringtone on Heyman's phone. Apparently Lesnar's calling him and he's embarrassed or whatever. Heyman ignores the call, but Lesnar calls back. Heyman takes the call and stutters around some, saying he doesn't have a lot of privacy. Heyman's going to move it around. Heyman turns around and bumps into what looks like a janitor, but it's Big E. He pulls out his Money in the Bank briefcase and laughs, taunting Heyman. Go back to the ring. Out comes SmackDown Women's Champ Becky Lynch, who's getting a pop. So if they're making her heel, it's not working. She says some kind of bitchy things to kind of put over the fact that she's becoming a heel. Excuse me. Becky says her return saved SummerSlam. When Sasha Banks went down, the powers that be called the man. Becky says just because she hasn't played the game in a while doesn't mean she forgot how to win. Becky brags about how easily she ended Belair's title reign. Out comes Belair, swinging her hair, skipping to the ring. The long and short of it is they make a match betwixt the two of them. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode are backstage walking. Ziggler stops at Tony Storm and tells Roode he will catch up with him. Ziggler offers Storm a ringside seat to watch his match tonight, or in his corner. She thanks him, says he's a really nice guy, but she's already rooting for Rick Boogs. Okay, Rick Boogs versus Dolph Ziggler. Boogs basically catches his super kick and hits the big pump handle slam in the middle of the ring to get the quick win. Nakamura rushes to the ring to celebrate, and Ziggler and Roode seethe. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville approach Becky Lynch backstage and confirm that she's going to defend against Bianca Belair at Extreme Rules, and the contract signing will take place from Madison Square Garden. Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. So as you can hear, nothing on this show is really good yet. Seth Rollins versus Cesaro is a very good match, but it ends in a DQ. So Cesaro collides with Rollins, who gets a steel chair in their way, and that causes the DQ. Rollins takes the chair and attacks Cesaro. He's got another chair. Rollins breaks the steel rod off the chair and uses it to apply the crossface as Edge did. Fans boo Rollins. Breaks the hold. He's going to do a concerto to Cesaro, but here comes Edge. Rollins retreats to the floor. So Cesaro's our damsel in distress. We see Roman Reigns and the Usos backstage talking now. Reigns tells him to stick to the script and the game plan. The Usos leave. Heyman tells Reigns that they have a problem. Reigns says, I'm about to smash Finn Balor. That's not a problem. They got a problem with Brock Lesnar. Reigns laughs and says Heyman has a problem with Lesnar. Heyman says Lesnar will be at Super Smackdown from Madison Square Garden next week, and he knows this because Lesnar called Heyman on his phone tonight for the first time in a year. Reigns asked if Lesnar is watching the show tonight. Heyman says Fox must be really big in Saskatchewan. Reigns asks Heyman how he knows Lesnar is in Saskatchewan. Heyman says he doesn't. Maybe Lesnar is in Minnesota. Yeah. Got a white Rolls Royce pulling up. Happy Baron Corbin hops out and he's in a good mood. Go back to the ring and out comes Kevin Owens for the KO show. Oh, God. He's going to have Happy Baron Corbin. Back to commercial. We come back. And in true SmackDown style, they don't go back to the thing that they implied they were going to go back to right away. Weird. Kayla stops Edge in the back. He says he was hoping Seth Rollins would have moved on after the SummerSlam match, but he didn't. So on and so forth. Go back to the ring. Owens is out. Here comes Corbin. Brags about his outfit. Corbin's asked Owens if he wants his $100 back, but he left his wallet in the Rolls Royce. Corbin mentions he has a special guest. At least SmackDown seems to understand that Logan Paul's a heel here. So here comes Logan Paul. Owens says he didn't invite Paul here because he wouldn't do that to the universe. Paul and Corbin have had issues during SummerSlam weekend, but says they're now friends. Corbin made a lot of money on Jake Paul's boxing win over Tyron Woodley. Owens rips into Paul, calling him one of the biggest useless pieces of trash to ever step into a WWE ring. Paul was about to offer Owens $100 and says, by the way he looks, he could use it more than Paul. Paul shoves Owens. They shove each other. Corbin ends up dropping Owens with a cheap shot and then delivers a choke slam in the middle of the ring. Paul taunts Owens and picks the money up. Sami Zayn versus Dominic is coming after the commercial. After the commercial, we see Carmella backstage filming some kind of vignette. A voiceover introduces her as the most beautiful woman. We see Liv Morgan off to the side watching Carmella, and she's not impressed. This is not a great SmackDown, folks. Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio. Sami Zayn wins in a quick match. Sonya Deville is backstage on the phone telling someone about Super Smackdown. Naomi interrupts and reminds her that she told her she could have a Blue Brand return match this week. Deville's busy and tells Naomi to remind her again next week. Great stuff. Balor versus Reigns is coming up. Back to commercial. Back from commercial. Kayla's with Finn Balor. What's your final thoughts on tonight's title shot? The biggest foregone conclusion match we've had in a minute. He says he will answer the question of what would have happened if he never got injured in 2016. They have a match, and it's good. At the end of the day, Reigns gets warned a bunch of times for like clubbing away while he's on the ring apron and all that kind of stuff. Finn Balor manages to hit the coup de grace, but Roman Reigns kicks out, and then Reigns gets him in the guillotine, and Balor goes out. And then he stands tall in the middle of the ring, and then there's this like red light and a heartbeat. Is that for the demon? What is that for? Who knows? And frankly, yeah.